After the ball is over, after this game is done, after the die lot's finished, and you are short just one, many a knitter has made a tearful and desperate call, pleading with their local yarn shop, go after that ball.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Pen Hook and Needles podcast, episode 285. It is Monday, December 4th, 2017, and we're glad to have you with you.
We're glad to have you with you
in the Woman Cave, for the fun in the Woman Cave. I am Marlisha, also known as Lady Fernico.
And I am Talia, also known as Franciscan Gypsy.
Glad to have you with us. We want to welcome all new and returning viewers. If you are new, we're glad you found us, and we hope you find something that will keep you coming back. We have a lot of fun here. We have a lot of great people here.
We have a lot of food here.
We do have a lot of food here. And if you are returning, we're glad you are here again. We always like having you come visit us in the Woman Cave. If you are in the shadows, regardless of whether you are new or returning, please feel free to join the Ravelry group and or the YouTube group. You can press the, I think it's a red subscribe button.
It is a red button.
Left. Okay. I'd like to know that you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be eligible for the prizes and the giveaways and things, you do need to be a member of the Ravelry group, because that's where we do our random number generator from. Okay? And we do have one new member, M-O-E-S Crochet. Moe's Crochet, no name, but we are glad to have you with us. Moe's Crochet.
Moses supposes
the toes are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously. Moses he knows his toes aren't roses, because Moses supposes his toes to be. Reference. Early reference.
Well, that was very easy.
I think so. If you are a musical fan, that's an easy one. Okay, what are you drinking?
It's hot in here.
What are you drinking?
What are you drinking?
I asked you first, and I did mine first last time.
Gatorade.
Ew. I'm drinking chai tea in my Team Owl mug, and if you hear something in the background of beeping, that's our bread machine.
Debating whether or not I need to take off my compression stockings and my knitted socks.
Not right now, you don't. You have to introduce yourself and have what tea you're drinking.
Okay, so, because I just got off of work, I figured that I could have my one of two cheat caffeine cups in order to hopefully stay awake. This is Cafe District Black Tea, which is black tea, orange peels, blue cornflowers, Oregon lavender, bergamot oil, lime extract, love, gratitude. It has caffeine, and of course it is Plum Deluxe.
It has a lime in the Plum Deluxe.
And you stir it
all up. And you put it in a cup. Lime in the coconut, you stir it all up. Because I'm weird. Good stuff, Andy.
I can't quite taste the lime as much this time. I'm not sure if I'm congested or what.
Now we'll see. Let's see. Which side did you drink? I don't want to get congested.
Well, I'm always congested. No more than my normal congested. It doesn't taste like the normal lime one.
It smells good. No, I taste it.
Okay, it's just me then. I'm just congested. Okay.
That's really good.
Because normally I can taste the lime a lot more, and it's like my favorite part. I think I'm just so congested that I can't taste the lime.
Right. Okay, so that's very good. Do you have... Okay, so now we can go into... Before we go into the actual podcast, I got tagged by Deb's Destiny, who is Debbie from the Never Cast Off podcast. She's one half, along with Sheila, to do a... Oh, actually, before we do that, Vani, we want to thank you for putting up the poll for my yarn question. I really appreciate that. I did get some good responses. Looks like I will be carrying both because there was a good amount of people who said that they preferred the larger yardage, but there was enough of a response that said they would like either the sport that was heavier or the sport that was lighter, that indicated to me that I should just carry both. So I will go ahead and do that.
Plus, I would have thrown a little hissy fit.
Yeah, well, you know the dyer, you could always have asked. so I will be carrying both, and maybe if I think something's gonna be more for shawl type things or socks or whatever, I'll do the greater yardage, or a toy that requires greater yardage, and then if it's something that requires smaller yardage, I might do the other one. So thank you for participating in that poll, and Vonnie, I really appreciate you setting it up, because I never would have thought about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, Deb's Destiny, as I was taking her name in vain, Debbie, from the Never Cast Off podcast, one half, along with Sheila, who's Blue Yarn Always, tagged me for a kind of a get to know the podcasters. It's a kind of a quiz, so we're going to give you some questions and answers to let you know a little bit about ourselves. I'm not sure you're going to find out much of anything after 5 years, but
yeah,
if you've been with us for a while, but we'll see. Okay, who are you? I am Marlisha, also known as Lady Fernico.
Yeah, I guess we answer them each rather than going through them like one person.
No, we'll just go back and forth.
We'll just go back and forth. Hang on, let me.
And before you get to that, I was a homeschooling mom. As many of you know, I'm a Holy Family Institute professed member, Catholic. Knit, crochet, loom knit, just started loom knitting, indie dyer, love to write, love to read, love to take walks, like to cook.
Sounds like a dating profile.
Yeah, so that's, basically, favorite colors, blue, green, teal, gray, red.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I am Talia, and I, am a knitter, crocheter, designer, although I haven't done a lot of that lately. Although I guess if I still done it this year, it still counts as lately.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't, you haven't stopped, you just haven't been able to do it right now.
Yeah, let's see, nurse, reader, sometimes writer, Catholic, like Mom said. Yeah, I guess that's really all that's even remote.
Favorite color?
Red, orange, yellow.
Fire and ice.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Wasn't that like a made-for-TV movie?
It was the best one of the bunch.
Wasn't it the one with...
No.
Because
yes.
Fire and Ice was the one with Gimli in it.
John Rhys David. Yes.
Yeah. I said Gimli, but I was thinking of him in
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Okay. When did you start knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving? Okay, I don't weave. I tried spinning, didn't like it. I've been knitting for about, I have it in my profile page, I think it was about 2 years ago, around Christmas time. And crocheting, I started way back like in the 1980s, like I think 82 maybe or something. When I met my husband, and well, not when I met my husband, when I went home to meet his family, his sister and mother taught me how to crochet. Mm-hmm. I think that was about the time. It's about 1982, 83, something like that. I've been crocheting. Loom knitting, I just started recently, very recently. It's when my hands were starting to bother me. And dyeing only about a year.
Yeah. I think you just hit the year point now.
For the shop.
For the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started crocheting, well, very first, Mom tried to teach us when we were kids, and lost patience.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Lost patience.
I never lost my patience.
Gave up on us.
You can't lose what you've never had.
So then I proceeded as a high schooler to get one of those teach yourself how to crochet books.
And don't go too into detail because that will come up later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do much with it for years.
College and all that.
Tried a little bit in college to make a ginormous blanket. Actually, that was another, yeah.
Yeah. I never got my blanket.
No.
Mm-mm. But the thought was there.
The thought was there. That thing was worked on a fair amount in college, though.
Mm-hmm.
Considering the fact that I was very busy.
You had the longest blanket from ever for me.
That thing got dragged all over college. It got burned in the dorm. And not burned down. Like, it has a burn mark.
Yeah.
Because we had this little
Heated.
shoebox of a room.
Yeah.
And my bed was against the heater. And so the crochet blanket has a little burn.
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't get burned in your bed.
Yes, I am.
Angels for foolish people.
Well, I think Mel and I moved the beds at that point because we kept experimenting for how we liked our beds. But then the blanket used to go, like, when we had to sit anywhere, they'd go out on the lawn and we'd all sit on it because it was huge. Yeah, anyway.
I went everywhere with them, see?
But that has nothing to do with me starting. But yeah, crochet. Seriously, I started probably
At the time, just before you started podcasting.
yeah.
It's about maybe 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, little bit, probably closer to 6 years, maybe more like 5.5. Because I would say I was doing it probably. I was doing it long enough to have a sweater done for the first podcast. Right. So
Might have been a little longer than 6 years then.
yeah. So yeah, actually, I think it was about 6 years because I started when I started my new job.
At Warren.
At Warren. Because I wasn't doing any really when I was at Winchester.
Yeah, you just didn't have, yeah.
Well, I just hadn't really started yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I had just started like little squares.
Right.
And I started knitting not long after.
Right.
You
jumped into knitting before I did.
Yeah. So I've been seriously knitting, crocheting about 6 years, crocheting about half a year longer than that. That was a very long answer to get to.
And I think that the serious knitting and crocheting for me was probably about the time I started doing Ravelry, because I never did patterns before that. I had done blankets and scarves and things like that, but they were all out of my head and they were very simple.
And also, she's very competitive.
I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about.
You notice how she's playing with something when she says that?
I always play.
That's the equivalent of you going, I could.
Okay.
Which she does do.
I do not, in fact.
You lied on the podcast.
All right.
How can they believe in
Your
you now?
favorite or proudest make? That's hard. I have a blanket that's on my project page that I gave to Talia's friend Elizabeth and her husband James when they got married. And that was a blanket that I kind of cobbled together. I didn't have a pattern for the blanket, and I had to go looking for an edging. And I just love the way it turned out. So that's one of them. I don't know. My sweaters, maybe. I don't know. I all the toys that I make for Talia's stuff, I really like. But that's hard. I don't really know.
If I was to choose something myself, it probably would be, I have a couple of complex cabled sweaters that I finished, that I was really happy with the way they turned out. So that would probably be, the Vivian, which is the very first cabled sweater I did. And then I called it my fisherman sweater. I don't even know what the
that's
actual
pretty
pattern.
one, yeah. The one that it's natural too. Natural color, right?
It is a natural color. So I think those are probably, I'm pretty happy with how the owl one, Harry Potter.
Oh, that's really nice. And they say make, and we're assuming knitting and crocheting, but I've got some skeins of yarn that I dyed that I really like. Smoke on the Water and Lengthening Shadows and things like that. And I love, for your stuff, I love your Tara and your owl, you know, and Patches. Well, I call them Patches, but it's Brat.
Yeah.
But you must have a design that you like most.
The first design that really, Barry's always going to be special because he was the very first one. But probably the first one that I really fell in love with, and it is evidenced by the fact that I've made so many, I've made greater than 10, is Oops.
Yeah.
Where are you, Oopsie? I don't have any of my oopsies back here.
Yeah, you do, right here.
Oh, yes, it's right. Come here, Ninja. Oops.
It's a bunny.
It's a bunny.
But that's not an oops, that's a York.
So, probably by far my favorite design of mine. And it's one that I've repeated a lot. Although this is grand heresy for a bunny, but I am very fond of the Terra.
Yes.
Um,
See, mine, of course, hers is this. Anybody surprised? I think I've done like 6 of these or something like that. Well, yeah, but I still got some on the needle hooks.
That's true, you do.
So this is my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
This one and Biddy has actually become a go-to for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Biddy. But that's not my pattern. So my yarns are in here though.
Yes.
Okay.
But it is hard to pick out one favorite make.
It is. What is your most disastrous make? Most of my disastrous makes have been ripped out, so I don't really have any. But I do have one.
Now, she actually prepped and brought stuff.
Well, it's right here. It's always been right here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that he does live there.
This is Poirot. I don't even know what the pattern is, and I just didn't do a good job on him. I love him because he's wonky, and nobody loves him but me. But he's a little blue mouse. I'm not even sure what the pattern is, and these little feet things were a pain in the behind. But I don't think
he was even supposed to be a mouse originally. I think you were trying to make a bear.
Yeah, I think I was, and I just decided it didn't look like one. And I can see here where
you really didn't have sewing down.
I didn't have sewing down. I didn't have stuffing down. I didn't have the fact that I could go down my needle sizes down so you can see the stuffing and all that.
Oh, Mom. You know what has to go right to the top of disastrous for both of us. Ugly dog.
Oh, right.
Ugly dog.
Ugly dogs. Mine was named Radar, and yours was named Tabasco, I think, or hot sauce or something. So, Stacy Trock, I love her. Love her. She's wonderful. She's had an influence on me. She's had an influence on Talia.
It was a mystery.
It was a mystery calico, and she told us to go crazy with the colors. So I thought, it's going to be something that can handle crazy colors. It was a dog. My husband has been trying by hook or by crook to get me to get rid of that dog.
And its name
is Radar.
Well, its unofficial name is Ugly Dog. That's what Dad calls it when you can just give them Ugly Dog. Mm-hmm. It's not even the Ugly Dog.
No, it's Ugly Dog.
And it's
just, and this is not an aspersion on Stacy's.
No, it was
patterns. It was just
the sewing skills and the color choices.
Yeah, because we went completely crazy, like she said. Now I at least kind of went with a solid and a variegated. Talia went with 2 variegateds.
Now, I think my sewing was slightly better than yours.
I think it was.
Which is saved mine a little bit because yours has like this pooch stomach.
Poor Stacy, she's getting... Stacy, you know we love your patterns.
Your pattern was not the problem.
It wasn't it was not the pattern at all. It was us. But I actually have a lot of affection for that. But it's
it's Ugly Dog.
It's Ugly Dogs. Okay, let me see, where are we now?
I don't think I went through any of my other I had in high school.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Very first project I finished, I was so proud of it. I actually wore it. I have no idea what happened to it.
I think you tore it out.
Maybe. It was made out of red heart yarn.
Red heart yarn.
No, it was purple.
Oh, was it purple?
Because
that was your favorite
that
color.
That was my purple phase. And darn it, I was gonna make a clothing, and I started with the vest, and it was horrible. The pieces didn't really fit. It was one of those like teach yourself how to crochet books.
Sometimes they're not the best.
And it was truly terrible. Yes.
But you stuck with it.
I stuck with it.
That's how you learn.
I mean, I did stick with it. That much is all that can really be said about that project. It was rather unfortunate for everyone involved that I stuck with it. But yes, that was a horrible project. And then the blankets.
Oh yeah, the blanket. And I forgot to mention my blanket that I made for Talia, because it was just, if you could see our room, this room is probably what, maybe 14 by 8 or something. It's, you know, a long room, and I think the blanket probably go end to end, more even. Up to here.
The thing is, I actually still have that blanket.
Yeah.
And I still use it.
Yeah, it's a good blanket. There's nothing wrong with the blanket. I was having, for some reason, I went through a phase where I couldn't get my edges straight. They kept like, you know, and I don't know why, because I've been doing it for years, and then for whatever reason, then went back to normal. So I don't know.
The one I made ended up getting scrapped. Well, first of all, I worked on it in college and I couldn't figure out the sizing, so I threw it down. I've grossly missized it.
Was it as big as mine?
I think it was bigger. And then I was like, oh, I can't figure this out, and I shoved it in a box in the basement, and then it got mold.
Yeah, that was sad.
Red Heart yarn
Molding.
got mold.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It must have got wet somehow.
It got wet.
Yeah.
That's when we had leaking in the basement for a bit.
from the upstairs.
Yeah.
When we had to get our bathroom changed out. Okay. Do you have a favorite place to buy yarn or fiber, online or local? I like to buy yarn Etsy, and I like to do it at Maryland Sheep and Wool and Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival. We don't really go to our local yarn shop very much, and for acrylic, I prefer to go to Hobby Lobby a lot of times. Although I do, the one time I do go to the local yarn shop if I want to get a quick James C. Brett.
Yes.
But generally, if I'm going to get nice yarn, I'll go via Etsy. Oh, and Miss Babs. Usually for Dragonfly Fibers and stuff like that, most of the people, I'll get them at the Fiber Festival, but...
We mustn't forget Knit Picks.
And Knit Picks, of course.
Because that's actually just about only acrylic, other than James C. Brett, that I use.
Right. I go sometimes to Hobby Lobby to get some of the bulky there.
I don't like how it looks in toys.
Well, I'm not using them for toys.
Yeah.
So, so Taya doesn't do so much Hobby Lobby. I do some, although you do like that Yarn Bee.
I do like the Yarn Bee.
So Hobby Lobby is kind of a also ran, kind of, we like it for certain things. Knit Picks is very big for us. I get a lot of my, you know, toy yarn, things like that there. If it's not, I don't like to get their nicer yarn there. Then I'll go to my Etsy shop a lot of times. But a lot of my favorite yarn dyers are on Etsy, with the exception of Miss Babs, and I think Dragonfly Fibers is not on Etsy anymore either.
I don't know.
But
I usually only buy her in person.
Yeah, I usually buy Dragonfly Fibers only at one of the fiber festivals, or if the shop carries it.
The thing is, I think I've only bought Marigold Jen in person, but I do really enjoy her yarn.
I have bought both on Etsy and for at fiber festivals. Marigold Jen, I love her. And then, you know, the other people, you know, like Undead Yarn and Marigold Jen. I'm trying to think who else I buy yarn from. Cappy, you know, things like that. I tend to go with Etsy. You know, I like to give the indie dyers my support when I can. Okay.
And of course, you have natural inclination towards your own yarn.
Yes, I like my own yarn.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd be worried if you didn't.
Yes. What is your most used? Oh, push posh. I keep using my. Okay, show notes. Your most used or most loved pattern. I have a couple. The Cerebel pattern. I think I've done like 15 or something like that.
If you look back on old podcasts,
I have lots of those. Sometimes I'd have more than one at a time. I have one currently on the hook, so I do a lot of that. Taya's York the Owl, and her Biddy, the Bashful Baby Turtle, both. I'm trying to think what else. I know there are a couple others that are shawls, but I can't remember what they are per se.
How many weights have you made?
I've got 2 right now.
Okay, it's not quite enough to make really a pattern.
But see, also you have to understand what I have. I have 2 sock knitters on the go too. I think I have 2 of the sock knitters and 2 or 3. I have 2 on the of the Wayets, I think, but I think I have one done. And anyway, my hands have been bothering me, so I can't do as much as I'd like.
Right.
So those are patterns. I'm working on one of Laura Smoot's Easy A's, which I think is a very, very good pattern. I love that pattern. So anything by any shawl by Bryony Bear, by K.F. Jones. I like her patterns. She has her fox out now, and it's adorable.
Oh, I didn't see it
It's
because I
adorable.
looked earlier, but it wasn't out.
It's adorable. I don't know if it's available yet, but it's out. It's finished.
Oh, okay.
It's really cute. Okay, so what about you?
Well, you've probably noticed the Miss L's 6-ply sock, which I've done a lot of lately. Then you noticed the Irish hiking
Mitts.
mitts. For a while, I did a lot of Diana's hats, and a lot of the Zuzu's petals.
Yes. Do you have anything currently
Currently, what?
that you do a lot of currently?
Miss L's.
Miss L's.
I'm currently doing a lot more of the Irish hiking.
Right. I have a set of those on the needles. I have to pull it back out.
Also, you guys have, I mentioned already, a lot of Oops is a Bunny.
Right.
Because I've done 10 plus of those. I think I've hit plus. I've repeated a lot of my own patterns.
Right. Well, you like what you made.
And if I make more than the original 2, because I always make at least 2, but there's several that I made more than. Oops is one of those. I made several Biddies. I've made several Timmies. What other one? I made several. Well, I made the owl a couple times.
I think I made 3 of your Brats and maybe 3 of your Ecovies too.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, the one I played the most is the bunny.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Well, yeah, that outstrips all of them.
Yeah. I think that outstripped actually all my patterns. Not just my patterns, all patterns that I tend to repeat. So.
Okay. Your most dreaded knitting, crocheting, spinning task.
Oh, weaving in ends.
I don't mind weaving in ends once I learn how to do it correctly. I don't like to tink back on knitting. I really don't. And I'm afraid to ladder. I'm afraid to go down and, not ladder, but, you know, when you have something down, you drop down, you fix it. I'm afraid to do that because I can't read my knitting well enough. I don't spin.
Dreading for me is just a matter of, like...
Yeah. Crocheting, nothing really. I mean, I don't like doing bobbles because it hurts my hands, but it's not like I dread it. Mm-hmm. I don't really dread anything for that except maybe weaving in ends. I guess. I don't like charts.
I love charts.
I don't like charts. I don't like crochet. Let me qualify that. I don't like crochet charts.
Crochet charts are bad.
I don't like crochet charts. I'm looking at the knitting ones, and I think I can figure that out if I try. But there are too many symbols for crochet charts, and it makes me insane.
That's because there's too many stitches for crochet.
Yeah. Okay.
So next.
What's your favorite task?
Something of interest. Like when I look forward to the point of the sock where I start doing the heel.
Oh, okay.
And I also look forward to kitchening. I look forward to the point where you start decreasing for hats.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I like the part where you have the eyes looking at you from the toys.
I like actually piecing the toys.
Yeah, those
where
are
they
fun.
start having their own personality.
I like doing that as long as my hands aren't hurting. Sometimes it hurts
Yeah.
my hands to sew, but I do like that when the toy comes together.
Yeah, because that's when it starts developing its personality.
But for me, it's new things. Setting up a new project. I love dyeing my yarn. I love the playing with the color and that kind of stuff. I like to learn new skills. As long as my hands aren't bothering me, I like to do that. And I like to learn new things.
The part of the blanket where I get to choose the next color, which we're actually at right now.
Yay. What is your favorite crafty entertainment? Now, I was confused by what this meant. Do you mean what do we use? What entertains us most when we're crafting, like making a blanket or something like that? Or do you mean what do we watch or listen to? I like to make shawls, I like to make toys, and I like to make hats. I like all three crafts of loom knitting, crocheting, and regular knitting. I love to dye the yarn. So it's hard to say what's favorite entertainment. Now, I do like to watch podcasts. I won't go into whom. I have too many of them. But they know who people I really
Well,
like a lot know.
if you watch this podcast, you know.
You know,
who we like.
I like to watch podcasts when I'm crafting if I can, or listen to them. I like to listen to Mother Angelica. I like to listen to DVDs and CDs, educational, religious, whatever. And I like to listen to things like Poirot and Brother Cadfael and things like that.
Well, that was a multifaceted answer to that question.
Well, that's because I didn't know what they were asking.
Yeah, for me, if I'm to answer, excuse me, the way Mom does, a lot of times toys are my go-to. And then I'll run through different things depending on my mood.
Mood plays a big part.
Yeah, mood plays a very big part. And how much focus I have available. And I'll have different projects that's my obsession for that.
Right.
Period.
Socks.
Hey, let go of
Mine.
my sock.
I want the sock.
No, you
want the
can't
sock.
have it.
But I want it.
Tough.
But I want it.
I put my smelly feet into them.
I don't want your smelly feet.
Let's see. I mean, I have my favorite crafting podcast, but again, you know, you know who we watch. But I haven't watched. Mostly, what I've been wanting to watch while I'm crafting has been different. For a while, I was doing a lot of the great courses. My big thing right now is the historical podcasts, and I include in that Myths and Legend podcast, which is a huge favorite of mine. The British History podcast, Queens of England podcast, the Stuff You Missed in History class. I tend to pick and choose through that one. I don't always like all topics. Stuff You Should Know podcast, same thing as Stuff You Missed in History class. I pick and choose. But like Queens of England, I listen to all of them. I'm only behind by one. British History podcast. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, I'm only one. Oh, I'm way behind that, but that's because it's been running for like years. I started from the very beginning, to like pre-Roman times.
What are you doing?
Trying to make sure I'm saying the right name of the podcast. Myths and Legends, I'm always caught up with, and I have the member feed and the non-member.
Has Mike Rowe put any more up?
Yes.
Oh, he has? Okay.
I'm all caught up on him too. Fictional is done by the same people who do Myths and Legends podcast. I love that one too. So a lot of my podcasts right now are audio podcasts.
Audio sometimes is better for me at certain points where I don't have to watch, because if I see, which is why that they might be something else, like Mother Angelica's not audio, but it could be because it was radio for a while. I won't look up every time they say, oh, and I've done this, and look at this color, and look at this stitch, and so, Okay, for patterns, do you prefer books, magazine, Ravelry, or would you rather make up your own? I prefer Ravelry. Taya's patterns are on Ravelry. I have tried to do some of my own, but right now I'm not. I think if I do make patterns, they will be knitted as opposed to crocheted, which is really funny because I was predominantly a crocheter. What about you?
Ravelry.
I think we had one or two things we made out of magazines.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite brand of knitting needles? Chow Goos. Goo Goos.
I can't bring myself to call them that.
Laura makes me laugh every time she says it. So
I just can't do it. I can't do it.
I can't, because every time I do it, I see her face saying it, and I giggle.
I just cannot do it.
Chow Goos. Those are my favorites. I like Knitpicks, Harmonies, Caspians, those kinds, but I do prefer the metal needles, which is something I never would have said. I also noticed that I prefer fixed circulars. I don't like necessarily interchangeables. I don't mind using them, but I prefer the fixed, and I prefer working on circulars whenever possible.
Do you think this is too dark to go in here?
It's going to be kitty cornered that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Your favorite needles.
I said my favorite Chagus.
Okay.
I just can't bear to call them Googly.
What is your favorite notion or tool? Stitch markers and that little scrapbooking tool. You know, that has a little crochet hook on one end and a needle on the other. So you can fix things. I've actually fixed things with that, and I love stitch markers, whether they're the plain little ones that look like safety pins, or if they're, you know, indie made. I don't care. I love stitch markers and progress keepers, and I do love the scrapbooking tool. I think those are very, and I do like, I know people have done cables without cable needles, but I do like something, and that can also be a, oh, no, I don't want to turn it off. I know people do cables without it, but I like using those scrapbooking tools or you know, stitch markers or whatever to hold for cables. Okay, so what were you going to do for that, your notion or tool?
Scrapbooking tool is probably my favorite tool.
Yeah.
Simply because I can use it for everything. Oh, and there's a little Kitchener tool.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I have yet to use those metal things we put on the ends of our needles.
Yeah.
These. Okay. All right.
And of course, stitch markers.
I said that already.
Did you? Okay,
You didn't say it for yourself though. What is your current favorite project?
That's pretty hard. Do they mean favorite to work? Do they mean favorite the way it's turning out?
I don't know. They just said, what is your favorite?
Because
I guess I would assume they mean, what is your favorite to work on?
Okay.
I would assume that's what they mean.
Yeah, that's a little hard. It's all based on mood.
Yeah, we're both very emotional type knitters or crochet crafters. We work on what the mood hits us to work.
Yeah.
We don't like to work under deadlines. We don't like to work under, you have to do this. We work what we feel like working.
And yeah.
I mean, right now mine is probably Lala Simple Shawl in the #1 position, and then there are several others that are right after that. But if I say one or the other, it's going to say, oh yeah, and this, and this, and this. So I'll just say Lala Simple Shawl right now.
I don't think I have a favorite.
No?
Nope.
Not even, I can't remember what it was I was going to say. Never mind. I need to put Laura Linneman. She's Lala, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For a little while, when I was working the lace hat in your yarn, that was it, because that was all I wanted to work on.
I do love the bankhead. That's a good hat pattern. But that's not, right now this is probably Lala Simple Shawl. Okay. Favorite place to knit whenever, in public, wherever I happen to be. It doesn't matter.
Yes, probably.
Yeah. I don't do a lot of it because I have to portion out my time to be able to knit and crochet. I like to knit or crochet in places like the Bookstore Cafe or the Daily Grind or something like that. But I don't care. I'll do wherever. Do you have any other hobbies? Yes. Writing. You know, I used to play. I have a guitar. I haven't played in a long time, but I play the guitar. I like to hike or walking now more than hiking. You know, do my workouts and things like that. I like to cook and bake, especially baking. Cookies and things like that. Trying to think. I don't know. I guess that's it.
I mean, I guess I don't have a whole lot of other hobbies.
But you do writing.
I do writing.
Yeah.
I'm not nearly as serious about it as you are.
Well, serious is not a hobby.
Yeah. I used to a long time ago draw, but I've never been
Passionate like Davina.
No, Davina and Dad are passionate about it. I can draw, but I don't. I've just never been as
The only reason she draws is when she does her pattern designs. And I'm getting back into writing now because I've dropped it for a couple of years almost, not completely, but
In college, I used to do some pasteling. But
Yeah. Okay, what is your favorite fiber arts book? There's a dyeing book. I can't remember the name of it that I've used, but honestly, I don't do books that much for fiber arts.
Yarn Harlot. But if I was to not take something that's amusing, I would say there is...
The Fix It book?
No, it's not called Fix It.
No, I know, but is that pink book?
Yeah, it's a pink book.
Because somebody was supposed to get me one of those for Christmas one year, and they never did.
Oops.
He's a bunny.
He is.
Yeah. I don't know.
It is called,
I thought it was Knit Fix.
no, it's not.
It's a little pink
It's a little-
troubleshooting book.
It's called...
I think I have it on my Kindle, but I want it on a hard copy. I'm going to have to see if I can pick it up.
Because I used to actually have it on my phone, just in case I needed to look stuff up. Knitspeak. It's called Knitspeak.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's it.
Let's see if I can bring it up.
And it's excellent.
And it was one that, it was like the first knitting book that I really picked up. Now let me see if it'll let me go to the cover.
You just had it, yeah. I think they can see that, Taya. There you go.
Okay. I got the physical form first, and I still have it. And it's a little pink book, and it has like sketches in it, but it's not a fancy book. But honestly, that's how I learned how to make one left and make one right.
And that's what I need to learn.
How to divide stitches evenly, like if it says divide, decrease evenly all around or increase evenly all around. It would tell me how to do that in the round versus in something flat.
Oh, okay.
Just a very good book. It's not a complex book. It's not one with a lot of pictures like these Knit Fix books and all that, but for me, it was the most useful one that I had. It's the one I've used most frequently. It's the only one that I've pulled over on my Kindle so I can have it with me at all times.
That's good. Okay. Let's see if I write the book. If you could meet anyone in the fiber arts community, who would that be?
Podcasting friends.
Yeah, podcaster friends. I'd love to meet up with Cappy. I'd love to meet up with Dan and Kay. Heidi. We already met up with Laura. I'd love to meet up with Maureen. I don't know. I met up already with Laura Linneman and Leslie. That was fun. There are just so many people. Oh, Debbie and Sheila.
Now, I'm going to go a slightly different track. Of course, all the people that we are friends with through podcasting are moderators.
All those people. I know I had somebody else in mind when I heard Debbie answering this question, but I can't for the life of me remember who it was.
But I'm also going to add to that list the people who have been most probably inspirational
Yes.
for me in my crafting.
Right.
And for me, as a designer, most inspirational have been Stacy Trock and Patrick Moose.
And I'd like to meet both of them as well.
Stacy first got me into making toys to begin with, like consistently, and she was one of the ones who I could start seeing the shapes with it. I mean, I could already see the shapes as someone who learned the basics of drawing.
That's the same reason I want to meet Heidi. It's not just as a podcaster, because Heidi was instrumental for my dyeing.
And for me, Patrick Moose, a lot of Patrick Moose's vision, even though my toys look very different than hers, than either of theirs, I pulled a lot of inspiration from both of them.
That's true. Okay, let's see. Knit or crochet? Option C. I like them both, including loom knitting. The reason I say that is because I have to do whatever my hands allow.
My crochet for toys, knit for everything else.
That seems to be where I'm at right now. That does. It seems to be almost exactly where I am. I do have a couple of shawl patterns that I really like, but I have. When we started this podcast, if you went back to the beginning, the podcast,
A very good place to start.
yes, you would see that this was almost divided down the middle. She was predominantly knitting, and I was predominantly crocheting. Now we're both predominantly knitting. I do maybe a little more crocheting than she does, but basically it's her toys and everything else is knitted, and same for her. So weaving or spin, neither.
Yeah.
Color or neutrals, both. What about you?
I tend to be color, but it depends. Mostly it's color. But, like, for the fisherman sweater, that
Right.
had to be done.
Well, that's why I said both, because I do both. I mean, I do prefer color, but I will do neutrals. Sweater or socks, I don't do socks at this point. I don't really like sweaters. I prefer shawls.
So you're neither.
Yeah, shawls.
Early on in my crafting, I would have said, if you'd asked me this even as recently as a year ago, I probably would have said sweaters.
And for me, I never would have said either. I would, it's just, I don't.
Maybe it's a year and a half ago.
For me, I would have said toys. Toys and shawls.
Now I'd probably say socks because I've knit quite a few sweaters. I think I counted down to having 12 adult sweaters that I've knitted.
Right.
But-
Okay, so that's a very long question and answer. So this is going to be a long podcast. I do want to tag, so we'll push this forward. We are tagging to answer these questions. Victorian Studio,
I hope
Maureen,
you're writing it down there.
Crocheting Hoovian, who is Laura, and Bakery Bears, both Dan and Kay. We want to know your answers to all these questions. I will try to send these questions off to you so you can answer them on your podcast if you feel like it. We'd love to hear more about you. Heidi, Undead Yarn, I tag you, but I think you were already tagged. If you weren't already tagged, consider yourself tagged. Okay? All right. So now moving on to the rest of the program. If you're not sleeping already. Okay. We have heard from 2 of the winners for the Dysautonomia Mitts Prize giveaway. We still need to hear from J Ladybug 671. We need to hear from you as soon as possible. You have till the end of the month to get back to us, or we will not be able to give this prize away, okay? So, or we'll have to redraw or whatever.
Right.
All right, so J Ladybug 671, please contact us to let us know you saw this and that you want the pattern, and we will get it out to you. Okay. All right. The Yarn and I, who's Cappy from the Yarn and I Cappy podcast, the Yarn and I podcast, she still has the coupon code in for us, our group, to have 15% off, $25 or less purchase, and that's for everything in her shop, I believe. And it's valid to the end of the year, so you still have about 2 weeks to use that code. It's a very,
It's about 3 weeks.
it's a very generous coupon code, and we've had it for several months.
Yeah.
And it will be in the thread because we want our viewers and members of the group to get it, so we're not just going to float it all out all over everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So go to the group, sign up, get the code, and you can patronize
Yeah, patronize.
Cappy's shop, because she has wonderful.
Because you don't want to
things
be
there.
patronizing.
You don't want to be patronizing.
You want to patronize.
Yes.
Nice.
Patronize. Yes. Go to her shop. Okay. The Yarn and I Cappy podcast. Okay, we're talking about Cal-Cals now. The Yarn and I Cappy podcast. And for those of you who are new, we had a new member who wasn't sure about what alongs were and Cal-Cals and things like that. A Cal-Cal, C-A-L-K-A-L, is a crochet knit-along, okay? We do accept loom knit-alongs, loom knitting for the knit-along, but we're not going to do a Cal-Cal, look-Cal. Look-Cal?
Look out! Look out! Look out!
So, anyway, the Yarn and I Cappy podcast is having a Cal-Cal to help fight depression and support mental health, that kind of thing. It started January 1st and goes to the end of this month. And anything you make that is for you, that makes you happy, not for someone else, although we know that makes people happy as well, but that you make because you want to make it for yourself and it makes you happy, all right? It's hashtag 123 for me Cal-Cal. The numbers, okay, hashtag number 123, the word for me K-A-L-C-A-L, okay? in the Victorian Studio Podcast is the Harry Potter Cal, and that's Maureen from Victorian Studio Podcast. It's also been going since January 1st, and it's the rules are in the podcast, as are Cappy's in her podcast. And anything from Victorian Studios, anything that's Harry Potter related, okay? Patterns, yarns, whatever it is. And if you're uncertain about whatever it is you're making, then just ask her. She's very accessible, and she'll tell you if it's acceptable. She's pretty good about accepting almost anything that can be even remotely stretched to be Harry Potter. Okay? So take a look at that. The Whip It Good Cal is in the Undead Yarn and Crocheting Whovian podcast groups. That's Heidi and Laura. And it's exactly what it says. You're taking out and working on your whips.
You're whipping people?
You're whipping people. You're working on your whips, your works in progress, okay? Your plops, project, long-term, ongoing project, okay? You work on those. I don't think you have to finish them, but the rules are in their groups, so you can check it out there, all right? And I think that goes to the end of the year as well. And the last one is the Stash Reduction Cal, which is the Never Cast Off podcast. That's Sheila, who is Blue Yarn Always, and Debbie, who is Deb's Destiny. And it's in conjunction with the Fiber Pusher podcast. And the rules are in their respective groups. And this is the last month. It was going all year. And the thread for the prize draw will be in the Never Cast Off podcast this month, okay? So these are all wonderful podcasts if you're looking for something else to watch. And the Cals are really a lot of fun. So if you want to try your hand at that, you might want to do that, okay?
I forgot for a favorite project. When I tend to repeat is on the fourth floor.
Yes, I do like that as well.
I'm on my third one.
I do apologize for the phone. Maybe my husband will pick it up. He did. Okay. All right. The Toy Along is our current, okay, in our group. It's the Toy Along 2017, and it's been going for 2 months. We are in our last month. And
I can't believe that.
That just kind of freaks me out a little bit. We have 2 lovely co-host groups. Mm-hmm. We have the...
You mean Dan's not lovely? Lovely?
Groups. Groups, I said.
I know you No, not lovely co-hosts. They're just lovely co-hosts.
Yes. Victorian Studios, who is a lovely Maureen from Victorian Studio Podcast, and the lovely Bryony Bear, and the very lovely Dan, who's Obi-Wan Knitter, and that they are also in our taking part.
All of them are quite loverly.
They're all loverly, and they were super glad to have them with us. And Kay's got her fox pattern finished. I don't think it's available yet. I think she has to have test knitters. It's been on the podcast, so I'm assuming it's okay to say something. Kay, I'm sorry if I let the cat out of the bag or the fox out of the bag, but I'm excited. It's really adorable. So
I look forward to seeing it.
Keep your eye out for that if you want to do that one.
Because I'm doing a backlog of their podcasts. Like I was trying to catch up.
Yeah, I'm like halfway through the last one, and it's really adorable. And if she gets that within the next week or so, depending on how fast you knit, you should be able to make one. And that one would get you double chances for a prize. And we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, we're really excited about that. We're excited about having those lovely podcasters be co-hosts for this along.
Is it a lovely along?
A lovely along.
Okay.
I just have to say lovely as many times as I possibly can.
This podcast is called Lovely.
How about loverly?
Loverly. That works.
Loverly. Okay.
You might want to put in parentheses or something so I know it's a title, because I'm not going to see this for hours and I'm going to be like, what the hey? Is there a person called Loverly?
Okay. Projects can be knitted, loom knitted, or crocheted. They can have been started at any time whatsoever, as long as they are worked on during the time specified. We don't care what you do with your toys, as long as you don't hurt them.
Yeah, okay? No toy torturing.
No. We, of course, allow double dipping wherever they will be accepted. You do have to be a member of the podcast groups to which you are participating in, okay? Look at the group rules. They're slightly different. They're substantially the same, but they're slightly different in each of the groups. Please do feel free to tell others about the along. We like to have as many people as possible. We have some really fun toys in our group. There's lots of enabling. We do have featured patterns and yarns in our group. We have 2 chances for a prize for any FO that's using Undead Yarn, which is Heidi, that's Nitty Girl, and or Lady Fernicle Creations, my yarn. Okay, in the finished object, you get double a chance at a prize. if you complete a Franciscan Gypsy design toy or a Bryony Bears KF Jones toy or a Crocheting Hoovian Hufflepuff toy, that will get you 2 chances for a prize for the finished object. If you use my yarn or Heidi's yarn with one of those featured patterns and you finish it, that finished object will have 3 chances at a prize. So some incentive there. You are responsible for multiple posting your posts, your pictures of those projects. If you meet those requirements, just let us see the ball band for the yarn, and tell us what pattern it is if we don't know, okay? Because that'll let other people see what you're using, okay? Okay.
Does that finally lead us on to...
Just a minute. Yeah, just about. All whips and F's. Okay. 1 whip per project per week, 1 FO, whatever. Okay. And it's PHN Toy 2017 with a hashtag for Instagram, without the hashtag for Ravelry. We'd love to have project pages so we can see that's where Taya pulls the pictures at the beginning from.
Yeah, you really need to make sure you have them attached to project pages, because then I put down the name of the toy.
Right. And we have several prizes which went over last week, I believe, so I'm not going to go over them now, only to say that we really appreciate our donators being so generous. That leads us to the fact that we are going to be starting a new Cal in January. It's the sweater shawl along, and we have the...
We aren't doing sweater shawl along.
Oh, yeah, we're doing the 1, 2, 3 for me. Not 1, 2, 3 for me.
We are,
Ready, Set, Go. I couldn't remember. I was writing it down to ask you. The Ready, Set, Go is going to replace the sweater shawl along this time, and it's going to be 3 months, starting whatever you want. So if you want to do sweaters and shawls, that's fine. But we're opening it up to everything. Just, it has to be started. So this one is not going to be one that includes whips. This is starting all the things, okay?
Yeah.
And that's for 3 months. And we are working on a year-long tea and books or something. We haven't decided what's going to be the title yet, but that's going to be all year. So those, just think about what you might want to do for January through March, and January through the year. Tea time in the library or something. Or tea time in the library might be neat. Okay, so that's that. All right. That does take us to our whips.
Okay, so let's see how many we have. I don't know how my table ended up so far away from me.
I don't know.
Usually I don't sit with it that far away from me. There you go.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the title for that.
I don't think we had one.
No, I remember the title for this, but not for the library. But I couldn't remember what we had decided to do about the January through March.
Oh, okay.
I knew we were going to do Ready, Set, Go. I didn't remember that we replaced the other one. Okay, how many do you have?
I think
Counting is commencing.
yes. 1,
2,
3, 4, 5, 7,
6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like I have 9.
Yeah.
Okay. And I actually got more. I originally had 6 or 7, but my husband had to go in for his colonoscopy today, so while I was in there, I was doing different projects. Let me just start at the beginning here. Okay. The first one I have to show you is in my Kikaboo Holiday Owls bag. This is the Little Rainbow's baby hat. It's a illuminated hat. So, not too far on this. I just started it, and you can see, again, with the cherub yarn. Okay? I'm going to keep this one here for now. And I guess I do one more? Okay. My next one is in my Kikaboo Puzzle Pieces bag that the lovely Denise so generously gave to me a couple of years ago. She gifted it to me. And this is the because he asked me project from the Tie Me Up pattern by Burnett Designs. And Davina says, "You're almost done, Mom. You'll finish it by Christmas." I'm at like 30 inches out of 54. So we'll see. Maybe I will. But it is getting longer. But you can see, here's where it starts narrowing out. So, that goes around the back of your head. And it's going to have to, you can see where it is here. It's a little, almost half. So I have a ways to go. And this isn't, I can work on this. This is kind of like when you do those little miter squares that Talia's doing. It's something that I know I can pretty much work on this whenever.
Right.
Because it's just a few stitches. I can get a couple, 3 rows done. I feel like I accomplished something. So that's good. Okay, your turn.
Well, speaking of miter square,
Okay.
this is Kay's Fault Miter Square blanket using scrap, sport, decay, worsted, and even bulky weight yarns. Inspired by K.F. Jones of Baker Bears fame, and worked off of her method of doing these mitered squares that she has in her Patreon tutorial videos.
And if you think you might be interested, that's well worth the Patreon. I'm not always up to date on their podcast because I have to watch them in pieces. I love them, but I love especially even more. I love their podcast, but I also love their tutorials.
Yeah.
Kay is an excellent teacher. I think Kay, Mr. Calling. I think she should have been a teacher. She's very good.
This is in my Pod Blue Batgirl ginormous bag. And got a couple of squares worked on. Finished this one from last week.
What color is that?
That was from Dad Sucks.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I started this square here, which I think was just some that I had that I picked up as mini skeins at Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival.
Is that the booth where you got me my Mother's Day gift?
I think so.
That
I guess that was
shop.
Maryland. I guess that was Maryland Sheep and Wool, actually.
Yeah.
And then this is from my socks.
I like those socks.
So, this one's a little bit of a thinner sport, so it tends to be a little more holy.
Which one is?
This particular the one I'm wearing.
Oh, is that like the sport I do?
Yeah, if you look at it, it's very similar.
Right, it is. I can see that.
So yeah, that's that.
Okay. All right, my next one is the Oceana Cowl project. Oops.
It's a bunny.
Okay. I don't have any water. Well, I'll get water. Okay. In my Turbo Knitter 64 Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse bag on a yellow field is my Nifty Knitter cowl with pom-poms, Imogen cowl pattern. This is by Lion Brand, and this is James C. Brett yarn. I think it's in the Ocean colorway, or Oceana. And I'm really close, I think, to finishing this. I don't want to do the fold over that I did on the other one. I just want to bind it off. But I'm going to work it until it says I should, just so I have a little more to go. I love the colors. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Definitely my color. So, yeah. Okay. Now, I had 9 and you had 7, so I think you could go now, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can go.
So next is in my Silver Shed USA Avengers bag. I think this one I actually purchased because the small one was the one that I won.
And I think you won it from Laura, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I can't remember what I won it for, but same design for the fabric. And I am totally wasting time so I can get at the end of this row. But it is the Scarlet project, which is the Sparkle the Unipony pattern, designed by me. I originally started it, because, Mom had a stuffed pony, crochet pony that was red as a child. And then B, I needed new tutorial videos for the Sparkle pattern. Well,
You worked on them?
Yeah, a little bit. Hey, can I have this bunny? Thank you. You took... There we go. So, in the Avengers bag, I worked a little bit on Sparkle. Not Sparkle, on Scarlet. So... Oops, it's a bunny. Not that particular bunny, though. I do have to move her. You can hold her.
Was it a him or her?
It is a him, I guess. Acorn's a him. He looks like a little toddler.
Mm-hmm.
So. This is why she keeps so many toys around. Because she wants to play. I could have sworn I had another piece in here somewhere. Yes, I do.
What is the body or the foot?
Oopsie. Either. Ears.
Oh, ears.
So I have 2 ears. I think I'm beginning the body.
I got 2 ears.
So-
1, 2. They help me hear.
It kind of looks demonic right now.
Give it a nice white mane.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the plan.
Mm-hmm. That's what Kalu mane was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's progressing.
That looks nice.
I'm pretty sure I'm on the body there. Upper body, yeah. So,
Okay.
that's gotten a little bit of work.
Let's see what's next for me. Okay. In my... Here we go. Put
Okay, yeah, this is a good spot for him.
Okay. In my Plover Bird...
Actually, it's a really good spot for him. He gets front and center.
Plover Bird owl bag is my Mother's Day shawl from the Dead Easy pattern. And that's Heidi Knitty Girl. And this is a nice pattern to work on. I usually do about 1 row at a time on this because it's getting long. But you can see that I think I might run out of this blue before well, maybe not, before I end up with all my rows. And that's okay. If I do, I'll just do a little more of the variegated. But this is working out well. This is all Heidi's yarn and all Heidi's pattern, so it's a Heidi shawl. And I'm enjoying it. Okay. Oh,
So-
there's my, I think, okay, I want to lose this. Lose my stitches. Huh, I'm very talented. There we go.
Good job. So, in my, Silvershed USA Tree Frogs bag, is Nemu, which is the On the Forest Floor pattern, by Simone Carit. And I'm using Miss Babs, Yowza What a Skein, in the colorways Faded, Sherpa, Marine. Move that up here a little bit. There we go.
How much work did you do on that?
No, not very much. I think I did a row or 2. So
Looks nice. I have to take mine out and start working on it some more.
it's getting on the long side.
Mhm.
Honestly, I want to work my other one, the black, gray, and red one.
Right
but
now-
I need to finish this one.
Right now I'm on things like, can I finish things? You know?
Yeah.
Isn't that pretty?
So it is very pretty. I look forward to having it. This is a shawl I love. The pattern, I just love the way it rests on the shoulders. And this will be another blue shawl that'll match all the blue I'm supposed to wear for work. So,
And that takes 2 of the main color, right? The silver?
I'm pretty sure. Well, for Miss Babs, all it takes is 1.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at it, see what the yardage is. I have some of my own yarn I want to use.
So,
Okay, my next project is the School Marm shawl in my Silvershed USA large Eeyore bag. And this is from the Easy A pattern by Laura Smoot. And I love this. I did several rows of this today while I was waiting for my husband. The lady looked into me and she said, "You look so familiar." I said, "My daughter's a nurse." Yeah, okay, no, she says, "She's always knitting too." So, let's see. There we go. So I did a fair amount of work on this.
the fun thing is, they probably think you taught me.
Yeah, that's okay. We actually, taught ourselves.
Yes, we did.
This pattern was gifted to me by the designer. Thank you, Laura. And I'm using Miss Babs Yowza in the Gotta Love Me colorway. And I'm using, I was using...
I love that. That colorway's nice.
Yeah, I was using Knit Pick Circulars, but I'm using my Chow Goose on this now.
And I think of the Scarlet Letter now that I know it's called the. When I think about it being the Easy A,
Oh yeah.
it's the Scarlet A.
This is Miss Babs, and the colorway is Gotta Love Me, and it is a pretty colorway. The black or the dark colors aren't showing up as much as they might, but
Well,
there's
yeah, it's kind of
definitely-
looking like shadow right now.
Yeah, it's definitely like a dark, either a black or a cherry or something.
Yeah, it's getting kind of washed out.
It's a really pretty colorway. And every time I take it out, Davina asks me if I'm making it for Talia, and I say no.
Well, because she associates red with me.
Yeah. I have a lot. My Juarez Infancia that you got me the pattern for. That's red.
Yeah, but that's not what she associates with
And
you.
I also have another red shawl.
Doesn't matter. It's not what she associates with you.
Well, she needs to get with the program.
So, in my, oops, it's a bunny.
That's not a bunny. That's a bag. This is a bunny, but it's not an oops.
He really likes his seat right in between us.
Mm.
He's a happy bunny. He'll hold an owl on his lap. Oh, that's so cute. Okay. In my Kiki Boo Bags tea bag are the recess socks. And actually, these bags have come to. I really like using these for my socks.
Mhm.
I use them a lot.
I'm finding that I'm not using as many of my real large bags as I used to. I have migrated more toward maybe the extra large for Civil Shed at the biggest now, and I'm actually using a lot of smaller bags. Not the tiny ones as much, but I do those for baby hats and things like that. Maybe if I do socks, I'll use that.
Well, when I got this and the autism one, I was like, oh, I'll never use these.
Yeah.
And I use them all the time.
Well, both of mine that I have, the autism awareness and my teacup one, are in use.
Yeah.
So
So, the recess socks, Miss L's basic 6-ply sock pattern by Miss L, using Marigold Gen Superwash DK in the colorway Sidewalk Chalk. And this is for Mom.
yay for me.
And even my DPNs are Chigu.
I need to get some DPNs and try that out, but a magic loop first. Isn't that pretty?
I think Magic Loop might be a little easier in your hands because it's not as quite a
fiddly and all that.
tight.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
Look at how bright that is. I'm gonna like wearing those.
Yeah, so it's fun.
Looks almost neon-y in the camera there.
It does. Well, they are pretty bright
They
colors.
are pretty bright. I have a shawl. I'm making a shawl on that. One of Kay's shawls in that. I think I'm doing the oleander shawl. Oleander, is that what it is? Kay oleander.
But yeah, I'm just at the straightaway for this sock.
That's
And actually, since I'm done with this row for the blanket, I might switch over knitting on this sock.
Are you finished then?
Yes.
Okay. In my Valeria bag that Valeria gave me a couple of years ago for my birthday is my current favorite project, and that is the On Cloud 9, which is from Lala's Simple Shawl. And I did a couple rows on this while I was watching a movie. Let's see. And this DPN holder is from Thank God for Bags. This is Sheila, Blue Yarn Always, in her Etsy shop. Thank God for Bags. I don't know if she's still having her sale or not, but
Hey, does anyone else stick their DPNs behind their ears?
I know that people do because they say that they were looking for it and they find it
Yeah.
behind their ear. So you can see I'm making some progress. I really love this pattern. Laura, you did a great job of making me feel like I can do something spectacular without having to do anything difficult. I mean, that is just beautiful. And I think the natural really makes it pop. I love the blue as well.
Well, that was what made me want to knit the shawl initially, was seeing
Heidi's.
in the natural.
Well, yeah, I had seen Heidi's. I had seen this pattern several times, and I had it on my wish list. And I was like, and then I saw Heidi's, and I was like, I want to do that, and I want to do it natural.
And
So-
my blue one gets pulled out as a reference all the time for this colorway.
Yeah. And you might want to keep it where I can reach it because I might need to show it.
Okay. Well, just let me know when you need it. It's over here because
Okay.
I had it just in case I got cold.
Okay.
But I'm still a little bit warm.
And I am using Chow Goose, of course, and this is natural yarn that I got from Heidi. So, super wash. Okay. Your turn.
Okay, so this one only got very little work. This is kind of in two bags. This is the most of the yarn is in my Silver Shred USA Batman bag. Then inside that, in my Fun bag, is the skein and the size of the project right now. As it grows, it won't be able to fit in Fun anymore. But this is my Bonnie Blue Lass, which is the Celtic Princess Poncho pattern by Wendy D. Johnson. And it's just a bunch of 1x1 ribbing it.
That's actually kind of a good name. I keep thinking of Scarlett and Rhett's daughter, Bonnie Blue, and she was Irish.
Yeah. And this is Celtic Princess Poncho by Wendy D. Johnson, Cascade 220 in the colorway Puget Sound. So, I've had this colorway a long time.
Deep stash.
Deep stash. Because I have a red poncho, I don't have a blue one.
Right. Now, speaking of deep stash, my next project, which is in my Silver Shed USA at Green Star Wars bag, is the Sleepy Bear project pattern by Jennifer Oliveras, and I call him Skylar. And he's kind of, I think I'm going to have to switch bags pretty soon, because he's gotten too big for the bag. I'm on the closing decreases here, so you can see this is the body and the head. So it's going to be a good sized toy. And this is deep stash. The yarn is Plymouth Yarn Core Color Spun in the Ocean Drift colorway, and Knit Picks in the Dove Gray colorways is the other color I'll be using. And I'm using a 3.7 millimeter F hook, and yeah, I was able to do, I think I did about 2-3 inches the other day. I was able to actually do this, so I was really happy about that. I was able to make some progress on it.
Very exciting.
So that goes there. Okay, your turn.
So, in my House of Yarn, I guess camping ground bag, is the Ruby Cow, and this is the Duke by me. Yep, and this is, I have done it's a free pattern, but it's not. It's not a free pattern anymore. But
We did some changes to it, so.
Yeah. No, it's just that I decided that it had been. We had talked about doing a kit with it.
That's what it was. And we might still do that.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense to do a kit if the pattern was free.
Right.
So.
Besides, you have all the tutorials and stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, that one might not have a tutorial. That one's written differently than my other ones.
Oh,
because
okay.
It's a knit pattern versus a crochet.
Right.
It's my only knit pattern.
What's the colorway for that?
Oh, this is Cardinals the colorway, and it is Matosh Sport.
Very nice.
So, and, I mean, we're very early on.
I like Matosh.
You can't even see the cable developing
I
yet.
hope the
really.
cable doesn't get lost.
I think once it grows,
Right.
this pattern tends, like if you aren't paying attention, you do kind of miss the cable until it grows a little bit.
Right.
And I actually haven't made this pattern since I did the first two for the design.
I forget why I started making that and then I stopped. I don't know if it was the cast on or if it was the make one.
It was the make ones.
Okay, yeah. And I'm going to learn how to do that. So I saw something that explained it really well, so I'll have to try it again. All right. My next one is Happiness is a Rainbow from it's my own pattern, and it's for Little Miss Thing, and I have to be quiet because she's doing her stuff, her snack. And I'm using US 7s, Chalgu Red Lace Circulars, and Lion Brand Mandela DK yarn in the Gnome colorway. I think it's the Gnome colorway. And I made some progress on this as well.
How many do you have left?
One.
Okay, good.
Okay. And you can see the color changes now.
That's fine.
I'm starting into the brighter pink. You see the purple. I don't know, can you see the brighter pink at the top? From the kind of mauve into the brighter pink that I've just started. There's a point right here where you can see it kind of goes from the purple over here, it stops right here and it comes into the pink. I don't know if you can actually see that. But this is fun because it's my own pattern, and I don't know, I think she'll like it, I hope.
I think so.
It's got all her colors in it, so. Whoops. Okay. Your turn.
Actually, you gotta go.
Oh, you're done?
You gotta go.
Okay. All right. In my French ladies bag, my bag is my Lady Blue project, and this is a Loom Knit Owl by Stephanie May, and I'm using the flower loom again, and this is James C. Brett in the Denims colorway, held double with knit picks in the Dove Heather colorway, and I think it's the sport weight. And I'm getting ready to go ahead and bind this off and make the little ornament.
Aww.
So you can see I made some progress on this today. So that's that. Okay.
And actually, there's a reason why I made you go first.
Okay.
In my Kissing Bunnies bag is Autumn, and this is the Winter White Owl pattern by Claire Garland using Lady Fernico Creations. Oops. It's
Untamed Oops.
Untamed Oops autumnal colorway, and it's gonna be either for Christmas or birthday or whatever.
Right.
She'll be able to keep this owl. I'm about to start the short rows.
So pretty.
So I just wasn't awake enough to do short rows when it was at that point in the morning.
This is an owl that this is one that Heidi's.
Yes, it is.
Heidi Packing Knits. Thank you, Heidi Packing Knits. Tagged me for this, and I loved it. I said maybe when I get the chance, when I learn to do it a little bit better, to knit better, and I didn't realize that Ty had bought it, or picked it up.
Yes.
And so I'm excited about that.
So I think it'll work really lovely. And so let's see if I have a picture of the owl.
It's so cute.
There it is. A good picture of it.
If you go to
Hold on, I'm gonna.
Heidi's project, what's it called? Stash Enhancement Thread, whatever it's called. She has a good picture there. It's so cute.
Okay, so that main color is obviously the autumnal. So I had purchased that with a purpose.
Oh, okay.
When I saw that, I started going through. Before I purchased, I was going through the stash and like, okay, what?
Yeah, because it was really funny because I had put a code in for my shop and I was wondering if it wasn't working, so I asked her to check on it. And she didn't have to, you don't have to buy something to put the code in. So I said, you didn't have to buy it, right? So she's, I didn't realize she had a purpose for it.
And this is the secondary color. Like, this will be the
that?
belly. This isn't yours. This is...
No, what color is it?
It's one that I used for the hat. On the hat, this is Yarn Hollow.
Oh, okay, that's pretty. That'll be a nice contrast.
And then it says white for the face.
Right.
So,
Yay. So cute.
So this will get done when it gets done for her, with the intention that hopefully it'll be done in time for the holidays, but it's not going to be rushed because...
I will assume closer to my birthday, if that, whenever you get to it.
So, yes, because I don't usually knit toys.
Yeah, it'll get done when it gets done. Did you ever finish the bunny?
No, not yet. Like I said, I don't usually knit toys.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any FOs?
Yes.
Okay, how many?
2. How many do you
I
have?
have 1.
Okay. So...
Almost had 2, but I only 1.
The first one...
Oh, yeah, those are pretty.
Are the Sapphire Mitts, the Irish Hiking Scarf Arm Warmers by Delia Rao Chalakian.
I get the feeling I used that. Did I use that for Biddy, that color?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought
We
so.
we had determined this last
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
There.
Okay. That's a pretty color. I really like it.
So
I love the way the
it was from Yarn Box.
Right.
For that very short period of time that we did do Yarn Box.
Yeah, I started feeling guilty because they'd send me things and it's pretty, but I didn't have anything to do with them. So
Right,
yeah.
and actually it's taken me a long time to find things to do with
Yeah.
the different yarns. So
I used part of that for my turtle. I still have the rest of it, I think.
well,
have to
and
see.
I have another one of my Yarn Box things in the dysautonomia mitts.
Right, I have more of the yarn box. It's not that I don't like the yarn, it was just a matter of
No, and
finding.
it took me a couple of years to get to the point where I used any of it.
Yeah. It's beautiful yarn.
It's beautiful yarn. It just I prefer to pick and choose my yarn when I
Yeah.
need it, so I don't feel quite as guilty. So yes, and I do love the variations in this.
It's very subtle.
It has almost like a Madtosh
I was
feel.
just going to say that, yeah. It's beautiful. Okay, mine is a, you notice I had a very new hat on the loom. That's because I finished one. So here's my little baby hat. It's a little slouchy baby hat. So this will be going to the pregnancy center. I need to take a picture of this and your kitty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. And you have one more?
Yes. And I finished a second pair, the Ruby mitts,
Those are pretty.
which means I actually must have started and finished them in a week.
Yeah.
Because I don't usually have 2 mitts going at once, and I didn't have the other ones finished last week.
Right.
And this is Madtosh. And it's the cardinal colorway.
Very pretty.
So, and it's the same. It's gonna match the Duke
Oh, okay. Okay, that works. Yeah.
matching set.
That'll be nice. Then you need to make a hat.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, very good. All right, do you need...
but no socks.
No socks. Okay, anything else?
No more FOs.
Okay, royalties.
Yes.
Okay,
Do you
go
have
ahead.
any royalties?
I don't have any royalties.
Okay, so, some are purchased, some were just, well, this just was given to me, today. I, did not actually have a nursing student. I actually chose with all my, the issues I've been having this year with all the call-outs I've been having to do for health-related things, not to have a student because I didn't think it'd be fair for the student. But we had a nursing student who had signed up with a part-time person, but it was hard for her to get all her hours because the other nurse was part-time. So she asked if she could follow me on certain days that certain nights that I worked. So I had her about, I guess, half the time or a third of the time because another night nurse helped her out as well. Well, she, last night was her last night. She's graduating next week,
Okay.
and this was her last clinical. So she was sweet, and she picked this up. It's a 17-ounce water bottle. She knew I was trying to drink more fluids because the doctor thinks I have some form of dysautonomia. And so she got this with that in mind, and because she said she thought the pattern really fit me. So
That's
she
nice.
put a lot of thought process
nice.
into it. She's a really sweet kid. So I immediately put water in it and told her it was absolutely amazing because it was. It is.
It's absolutely amazing and it's thoughtful.
Right.
And sometimes that's rare.
It is. It can be, yes. So I really appreciated this. And Maggie, I know you're on my Facebook now, so if you happen to see this, thank you. And then my other toy, which actually goes into the tilt table a bit. Tilt table, the test I was supposed to have, I did have last Monday when we podcasted on Sunday instead. Unfortunately, it did not get the results that I was hoping to get me a diagnosis. They didn't take me off the medicines beforehand, so I didn't get any changes in my heart rate because I was still being medicated. So I kind of felt frustrated because I felt like I wasted my time and my money. Hopefully they'll be able to make some diagnosis based on the fact that the medications are working, but I don't know. That's a conversation I need to have with my electrophysiologist. But I was very upset that day. But I was talking to other people who had been diagnosed and who had had the tilt table before, and asked them what they had done. One lady was like, "Well, yeah, she didn't get results that really gave her any diagnosis the first time, as well, because she just happened to be having a good day, because that does happen with this dysautonomia and POTS in particular. You'll just have a good day, and the next day might be awful, which is kind of what had happened for me. I'd had a day of dizziness and
beforehand,
like on Friday, and then
she was
2
grabbing
days later,
onto me to stay. She never grabs onto me. She was grabbing onto me, whole stand upright.
Yeah, and a couple days later, fine. But she said the way she got diagnosed was based on the data on her Apple Watch. So I've been hemming and hawing about it for a while because the Fitbit really didn't give me any accurate heart rate and didn't keep track of it. So I got the level 1 Apple Watch to keep track of the heart rate primarily, and also it keys into my iPhone. So that's my new toy. It came with a black band, but I also got a red one.
Of course you did.
For when I'm feeling red.
Red. Angry? You don't want to see me when I'm angry. Isn't that green?
Yes, angry is green.
Let me see the... Oh,
And-
gotcha. Why...
That's the bigger one, like for people with bigger wrists.
Oh, gotcha.
It comes
Okay.
with both.
Gotcha, okay.
This one doesn't change. This just has more holes in it.
I see, okay.
It's a little bit longer. But I tend to wear the small.
But where's the rest of it?
You see, this part doesn't change. So this clicks to here,
Okay.
and this is the other part. And it
So
clicks
regardless...
yeah, regardless, this part doesn't
Gotcha.
change.
Okay.
So, and this is the longer black one for this here, but they already had the small one attached,
Right.
and that's what I wanted anyway.
Right.
So, in case I want to change my band, or in case my band snaps, I have a replacement band. So yes, that's my newest toy, and I am enjoying it because I am kind of techy and I love apps, and it makes me happy.
Okay.
It helped me get over the hump of I was really, really upset down after
Yes,
the test.
she was. She really was. Some of you who have been in private messages with me know because I told them. We were talking about it. So
Because I was really hoping
Yeah.
to have a diagnosis, not necessarily for a change of treatment, just so I knew. But a lot better, in a lot better place mentally than I was that first day.
anything else?
That would bring us on to autobiography.
You have the shared story, so...
Yes, and I worked on the shared story.
And I got a bonus, too.
Yes, and she gave her a little bonus because I was in a real writing mood that night.
That was awesome.
And read more of Ut Perfectum Sit, which is something I I'm required to read for Pauline, for the religious stuff that I'm doing. Been listening to my podcast. You heard through some of them at the beginning of the podcast. Myths and Legends, fictional podcasts, British history, stuff you missed in history. I know I'm caught up on Queens of England, or I was. They have a new podcast episode out. I saw the trailer for A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, one of our favorite books.
Loved the book as a child. Do not love the trailer. They completely changed Meg.
You can't change Meg. She's the main character. Along with Charles Wallace, but Meg can't be changed.
It seems like they've substantially changed the character. She's too confident. Like she's the one explaining how you
Tesseract.
how you test her.
Tesseract.
What a tesseract is and how that even works. And Meg didn't know. Meg was very smart. Math was her thing, but she's kind of the character you, as a kid, especially if you were like an awkward teenage age or pre-teenage, where you kind of empathized with Meg
Because you just didn't fit in.
yeah, Meg was was a reader a lot of times because she thought her hair was mousy, she had glasses, she thought she was ugly, and she was stubborn as all get out, but she had the biggest heart ever. And Meg felt a lot of times her own frailty. And the Meg in the trailer is just way too self-confident. It doesn't feel like Meg. So that got me to reading, because it didn't mesh with my memories. So I went and reread A Wrinkle in Time, A Wind in the Door, which Wind in the Door was actually one of my favorites. That focuses a lot on her and that's her husband.
Wow, I know his name too. I can't think of it.
It begins with a C.
Yeah, it does.
It's not Carl. It's gone. Anyway, I'll lay down to go to sleep and it'll hit me in the face. And I'm currently reading A Swiftly Tilting Planet, which is more focused on Charles Wallace.
And then the one that's
The
focused on the twins
is Many Waters, and that's the next one after that. Even though chronologically it comes before Swiftly Tilting Planet, because the twins are still in high school, in or a little bit before, in A Swiftly Tilting Planet, and Charles Wallace is the youngest, and he's 16. Why do I want to say
Carson?
It's not.
It's not right.
It's like it begins with a C for sure.
It's gonna bug me.
While you're talking about yours, I'll sit there thinking about.
All right. I finished reading Shock of the Night by Patrick Carr, and I've started the Shattered Visual by the same author. I'm going to be finished before his other book come out. So
you knew that.
So I'm going to have to find something else to read that won't take me too far out of the.
Maybe read
Wrinkle in Time, yeah. So I'm really enjoying Shattered Vigil, and it's a little hard to read the beginning because they kind of think the main character's a little off. They don't trust him very much still, even though he's proved himself. So it's a little difficult to read because I want them to trust him, and there are certain characters that I really like in this book as they've come along. So it's a good read. I enjoy it. I've put aside Mary Queen of Apostles and picked up the Advent Journal. Started that today. That was good. Actually, I started it yesterday. I think I started it, and that's really good. I have a couple other books that I'm reading as well for Advent to get prepared for Christmas, which is nice. I will be starting prompt duties for the Percolator on the 17th again, so that'll be fun. I've already picked out my prompts because I'm afraid with all the busyness and my colonoscopy and all that stuff coming up, I'll forget if I don't get them done. So that's about all I have for that.
I'm cheating.
What are you doing?
I'm looking up his name because I have the books right here. I've been reading on my Kindle.
For my Etsy shop, in case you don't know, I have a sale going on. It started December 1st, I believe, and it will go till the 10th. It is 15% off with the code Advent 2017A, and it's all caps. So if you are, it will include any updates I have. So if you're looking for something, you have another week or so before the sale stops. And I'm hoping to put up more colorways in the next few days. Everything's been a bit hectic, but I hope to be doing that soon. I have made several sales. Thank you very much to those who have purchased yarn during the sale. I appreciate it. I had a very lovely lady who was interested in my, what was it? The Happy Mail colorway. She special ordered it, and it took her forever, and I really appreciate her persevering. It took her hours to get into that.
Oh, man.
And so I just really appreciate it. She knows who she is. I don't know if she watches, and I don't have permission to use her name because I don't know if she's a podcast watcher or anything like that, but I really do appreciate her sticking to it. I mean, she contacted me a couple of times and we fixed things. I also want to thank another person who I don't have permission to know who she is, when she told me that the code was not working for all the listings. Apparently Etsy doesn't tell you this, but there's a specific way to put in the codes so that it will include everything that comes in later, and I didn't know that, so I looked it up. She told me it wasn't working, so I put the question on the board, and actually somebody had already asked it, and they told us what to do, so that's why it's now 2017A, Advent 2017A, because now everything will be included when you do pick up something if you want to, and it will also include, theoretically, I haven't put anything up yet, new, theoretically will also include the new things to the shop. So if you're in the market for yarn, for the holidays, for a gift, for yourself, whatever, it will run until the 10th.
And Mom, it's Calvin O'Keefe.
Calvin, that's what it was, yes.
It was bugging me.
Yeah. And, yeah, okay. So what do you have next?
Nothing.
Okay, I think we're podcasting again next Monday,
Mm-hmm.
so that will be the 11th.
I stayed awake all podcast.
Yay! I noticed that. And we're not even over much longer, even with all the
No.
questions. Okay, so the people we tagged, Kay and Dan, Maureen, Heidi, and Laura.
Oh, hey, I did forget to show something.
We don't forget to ask the questions. We'd love to know if you want to.
Yeah.
What are you going to show?
I don't really know what I'm going to do with this, but apparently purple is the color of the school that my student went to.
Oh, okay.
Or is going to. I guess she's technically still going to it until she graduates in a week. But it's a little like arm pack thing.
Well, that's nice.
So you attach it there, and I guess you put your phone there, maybe?
Maybe your
Coin?
MP3 player or whatever.
Yeah. But it has the name of the school, which is JMU, James Madison University. And, it unzips and stuff.
That's cool.
So, this was something she said that the school gives out to everybody. The other thing was something she personally chose.
Right.
She says the school chooses this for, people who agreed precept. She's like, yeah, I don't really know what to do with this, but here's what I really got you.
That's cool.
And a really cute note. I did.
Aw, it's a hedgehog.
I know.
It's so adorable.
So,
Raphael.
it's too. I see.
No,
him.
but that's because of Raphael.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's too cute to be Raph.
Raph is cute. Okay, so we will be podcasting next week, God willing. We are very happy that you joined us here in the Woman Cave. We wish you a week full of knitting, crocheting, crafting, whatever it is that makes you happy. And we wish you a very blessed week. This is the Pen, Hook, and Needles podcast episode, right? Say it was 285? I don't remember. Hold on. I'm checking.
Maybe?
Oh, poo.
That sounds right. 'Cause I have Wrinkle in Time pulled up on my phone, on my computer, Kindle, not the show notes.
I messed up my whole closing.
You could have seen what it was just like 5 seconds ago.
What?
Hold on. Stop that. Oh, you don't have it at the beginning like I do.
Okay. Episode 285. This is the Pen, Hook, and Needles podcast, episode 285. And that's a wrap.